All right, we good? You guys can see everything, correct?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. So William, I just got back from Florida. I went to Grant Cardone's sales workshop, and pretty amazing. And I know that you're not big fan of him, but he's got down that sales process to a T. I mean, that he's a great salesman and has his team there. I mean, incredible how those guys, I mean, and these are young guys that are hustling, working really hard. And something that I found out that I thought was pretty interesting, and this is like his standard in employing people. They don't interview, they give you a list of names and numbers and put you to make calls. And if you pass, then they interview you. So they are, talk about having high standards for who they're going to hire, and they monitor them like on a weekly basis. They should improve every week, and if they're not improving, then they feel like, well, then he may not be the right fit for their company. Just incredible. I mean, I was like just blown away to see everything they do, and he's just also a master at this. I don't know if you guys have even seen, but and I'll just do this since it's just us, and then I'll start the presentation. But everyone, big companies are not employing, or they want everyone to be vaccinated. And so he took this negative thing and made it into a positive. So he said, hey, listen, I'm hiring non-vaccinated, and I'm looking for, he needs to hire people for his company. His company's growing. And he's like, you don't need to be vaccinated. He had 95 applications, CFOs, CEOs, top, just top professionals looking for a job, right? Or looking to work for him because he's not requiring these vaccines. So it's just incredible how just the minds, how he takes something that's negative, turns it into a positive for himself. So I thought that was pretty amazing.
Well, he probably, I just said, he's a great motivated speaker. As I said, I was at the conference with him and Damon John from Shark Tank. Some of my friends have helped Damon and his company. As far as him personally, I mean, whether or not it was his staff that has created a problem in that respect, and in terms of my partner, I said I will probably resolve it, because people who coordinate, who basically organize the meetings that he has are friends of mine. So I needed to talk to them to get to him, to explain to him the problem, because this has been going on for about a year now, which is crazy. Now, he's not aware of it because, and so maybe on a lower level. So it just turned me off that they had to go through, people saying, I'm call you back, and they never call back. And it's been on multiple cases. And so, I mean, his changing and staffing, but as they said, there are people who do enjoy him. I guess the verdict is still out on me. But anyway, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I think Bill Gross said he enjoyed it as well. Yeah.
And he was there for a totally different event. I mean, they have a lot of different events. So I was there for sales. It was a sales workshop, and you know what? It was pretty good for what I needed, and I loved it. So just great. But anyway, wanted to share that with you. And so let's get started. As you know, my name is Annabelle Pacheco. I'm an investor and a real estate broker. Been in business for 24 years, and really the goal of this weekly call is to share with each one of you in detail the steps that I take to purchase my first multifamily deal, in hopes that you guys will also do the same, some, you know, at least at some point. I'm not selling anything. I am not offering anything, and I am not a financial advisor. I am just sharing my story with you and hope that we can use this platform for you guys to also share with each other, and that we can just kind of learn from each other. I just want to reiterate, this is a really safe place. Ask questions. Your participation is greatly appreciated. I think it just makes this much more pleasant for everyone, and it'll give you an opportunity that if you know you do want to ask a question, that you can. And a little background. So I started my career in the mortgage industry back in the mid-90s. I have purchased over 100 properties throughout my career. In 2001, we built a 150 capacity restaurant from ground up. We had a staff of about 15 people. We had managers, chefs, servers, and managed that for about 8 years, grew it to a point where it was producing enough for us to honestly be able to sell it and move on. It was definitely a very sacrificed and hard 8 years of my life, but I learned a lot. It was a great networking platform for me. I think that I made some really good connections with people and some business opportunities that came from it that, you know, I have to say was really great. But I'm happy to have turned over the key to someone else and let someone else run the restaurant. The last 10 years of my business, I have focused 100% in representing clients in both the residential and commercial real estate, really throughout the US. I've purchased my first multifamily property, 34 units in Texas in 2015. And I was really looking for a way to create cash flow and just generational wealth, right? I just, for many years, we've just been working hard, producing, right, flipping. We'd make some good money, we'd put it back in and buy more properties, and then, but it was just never, it's just constant, you know, you're constantly on that hunt for more deals, and I was just tired. I thought, okay, I need to figure a way, how am I going to create, right? How am I going to make my money work for us? And here are the reasons why I invested in multifamily property, and I hope that I inspire any one of you on this call today. So number one, we were looking for cash flow, right? How are we going to get money every month coming in from it? And just in a nutshell, cash flow is rental income minus all of your expenses equals cash flow. Number two was the opportunity to have your tenants pay down your loan. And what better than, you know, having units? We thought, okay, this is the way to go, right? And number three, it was appreciation, that the property over the long run would appreciate. And I have to tell you, I want to make sure that you guys all know on this call, when I purchased a property in Texas. I was from California, and in California, we know that property appreciation is it's just very strong, and it's always on the rise. Other states, in 2015, Texas was not at the same level as California, but we knew, again, I was buying cash flow, and I just knew that, you know what, over the long term of this investment, that the property would, we hoped that it would appreciate. And we did the numbers to make sure that at least we knew we were right within where we needed it. So tax benefits was number four, and that was very important for us because, you know what, it gives you an opportunity to depreciate. So it allowed us to expense a portion of the physical structure every year, and 1031 exchange, which allows you to defer the capital gain taxes. And there's no limit to this. You can do this as many times as you want. as long as there's properties out there that make financial sense for you to do this. We have had this property now for 6 years, and the property that we purchased is called a value add property. I don't know if you guys know what a value add property is, but it's really a property that maybe is not in the best neighborhood, and there's an opportunity for you to increase the net operating income and the value of the property through renovation. And that's exactly what we found. We found a property that needed work. We purchased it for $850,000. So just to give you guys an idea, we could have gone out and applied for a traditional loan, right? A multifamily or commercial loan. But when the opportunity arose, I found this property and I contacted the agent, and the agent happened to be the owner of the property. And I was the buyer who happened to be a real estate agent as well. So we ended up kind of, we represented ourselves and we negotiated ourselves. And at that time, that property was not doing well. I mean, he didn't take care of it. It was, it definitely was neglected, and he had terrible tenants in there. Just wasn't making any money, and that property needed a lot of attention. And so I went in and offered him an opportunity to see if he'd be interested in seller financing for us. And you know what? When he did the numbers, we gave him $350 down payment. He financed $500,000 for us. He was probably making more money from lending us the money than he was from actually running those apartments. So we ended up agreeing to this. We remodeled and updated the units. We had about a two-year note there with him, which was enough time to update, remodel, and increase the rents so that we can actually go out and refinance and now get a much easier loan because of the condition of the property and the performance of the property. So by year 2, the property had appraised at $1.6 million. We acquired a loan for $1 million. We were at I think 65 loan to value. So we were able to get our initial down payment and the money we spent in remodeling that property. And today we have zero invested in this property, and we have an evaluation of about $2.7 million for this property. So we did pretty well. Some of you could say, well, that was really lucky. I think that, yes, we are lucky, but lucky is being prepared for when this opportunity kind of fell on my lap, and we knew to jump on it because it was a great opportunity. And what I want to stress here in this section, that is what's really important, is that when you decide the location and where it is that you're going to purchase, that you've done enough studying of that market that when an opportunity comes up, you will know that it is a good opportunity. And that's really what happened here, is that I had spent about, it took me really, this was like a 4-year, 5-year plan that, okay, I'm gonna, I eventually want to invest in multifamily. And what I did was, a year before, once I had decided where I was going to invest, I would visit that area and I would go out and see properties and I would study the market. And you just want to become familiar with certain areas and what's the going rent, right? For a 1-bedroom, for a 2-bedroom, or a 3-bedroom. And just, you start looking at all of that. And then you have now become familiar with the market, and you will be ready if an opportunity comes your way. You're ready now to say, okay, you know what, this is good. So just wanted to share that little bit there with you before I continue on with my presentation today. But any questions so far? We all good? Okay, so here is just a picture of my property. This is the building here that we're looking at is 24 units, 1 bedroom, 1 bath each. And then there's another building. This one here is 10 units, 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bath, townhouse style homes or units. All right, so today we're going to talk about getting pre-approved and pretty much what is needed to get to the step. Okay, so if you kind of just quickly want to find out if you qualify for a certain loan amount, what you're going to do, and it's just very simple, you're going to want to get a trailing 12-month, a month-by-month operating statement, which is a P&L, and a current rent roll. You're going to want to take a look at all of those numbers, and you have to remember that when you are getting pre-approved, something they're going to look at is that the borrower's net worth has to be greater than the loan amount, and the borrower's liquidity is also greater than 10% of that loan amount. Okay, so these are things that you will gather from who, if you're looking at a property, you're going to ask the agent to provide these trailing 12s and the operating statement and the rent roll. And then you're going to fill out, you know, your net worth. I mean, and usually you're given like a sheet where you can put in all that information. And then if you want to get a formal quote, right, or a term sheet that your lender can stand behind, pretty much what you're going to look for is you're going to now want to get the last 3 years operating statements. You're going to want to get your trailing 12 months, a month-by-month profit and loss, a current rent roll. You also, very important, you want to get a summary of CapEx to date. Just, do you guys know what CapEx is? Yes? I don't want to move on if you guys are, you know, not clear on certain things, but CapEx.
No, I don't know about CapEx.
Okay, so CapEx is capital expenditure. That means if you had to make some big repairs on the property, you're going to make a list of those capital expenditures and separate that from the current expenses that the property requires, like your monthly operating expenses. A capital expenditure is not part of those expenses. So it's important that you understand that your profit and loss, when a lender is looking at a profit and loss an operating statement, they're looking at all of the expenses and then, you know, all of the income. Well, if you don't separate your capital expenditure, it's then used, let's say that you didn't know and you put it in your profit and loss as an expense, it's going to reduce the price of your property or the value of your property. So it's very important that that summary of CapEx is separate from your operating expenses. Does that make sense? Did I explain that properly?
Yes, got it.
Okay, fantastic. And you know, you want to show stabilized budget as well. And this is stuff that you're going to provide to a lender so that you can get a formal quote. Okay. The other one, if I go back, this one here is just for you to get like just a quick idea if you're going to qualify or if this property is going to qualify for financing. And all they need is like a trailing 12, your month-to-month operating statements, and your current rent roll. Right? And that'll just give you an idea if you're going to qualify or not. Over here, this is if we actually want to get a formal quote. Like you've identified a property, you're ready. All right, what do I need to get? You need to get these items here. And now obviously you need more information, right? So you're going to get property details. You're going to get property photos. Usually the agents that are selling the property, they'll put together a packet that has a detailed of all this information, like photos and the address, the description, the unit mix, the age of the property and the construction type. All of this stuff is usually listed in one of those reports that they put together. And that's what you're going to give the lender. Now, in addition, that information that I've just described is the property information. Now we're going to look at the borrower information. Okay, you're going to need to provide the lender with the name of the entity. Are you forming an LLC, right? Or are you purchasing this property with other people? Is it just you alone? So organizational chart will pretty much be used if there are other people involved in this purchase. Personal financial statements for each guarantor and a resume as well for each guarantor. They want to make sure, remember, you're giving the bank information so that they know that you are capable of being able to run this property, or like you're like you can handle this. Okay. Property management company. If you're not going to self-manage it, then you need a property management company and you need to provide their information. Any individual owning more than 20% of the GP will be underwritten as a guarantor as well. And LP partners, limited partners, are not underwritten. So GP means general partner, and they usually will be required to be a guarantor, and they're gonna show all their information. Limited partners are not underwritten in the deal. And then pretty much here you have also for guarantors with limited experience, a strong property management company will be required. So if the lender knows that you don't really have the experience in managing this, there's a good chance that you may not qualify for a loan. And you may need to either hire a management company, or you partner up with someone that has management experience, because now they can come in and they are going to be part of the equation, right? Of now you satisfy the management part of this transaction, and the lender now feels comfortable and more willing to say, okay, fine, we'll lend you the money on this, because you now have, you've got the management part of it, you've got the guarantor financial part of it, everything is kind of in line. Makes sense so far?
Yes.
Cool, thank you. All right, so in addition to the items listed in the formal quote, so you're going to need additional documentation as well. Okay. Throughout the course of like underwriting and reviewing third-party reports, you also have other additional documentations or underwriting items that could be requested. Okay. And the following really represents like the balance of items needed to actually close the transaction. And that would be stuff on the borrower, like a W-9 form for the borrower, a organizational chart, right? So you want to show where or who you are in this organization, where you are, and like everyone that's part of it. You also want to present the articles of the organization, executed operating agreements, and the verification of the EIN number. So these are things that you will need. So you have property documentation information that you need to provide the lender, and then you have borrower information that you need to provide to the lender. All right, so property. I'm breaking it down to, okay, what's needed. You're gonna go now you're talking to a lender, and the lender says, all right, well, this is the stuff I'm gonna need. So you're gonna need to get current rent roll, okay? All months up to the including closing months. So you want to get the last, really like last 12 months, including the month that well, you won't be able to provide it like the closing month until you get ready to the closing month. But let's say right now you go to a lender, so you need to provide it up until the month of July would be a complete month, okay? Current operating statements. All months up to and including the closing month, okay? Alta survey. Now, Alta survey, I put on here, just want to make sure you guys understand what an Alta survey is. And it's a detailed land parcel map showing all the existing improvements of the property, the utilities, and the significant operations within the insured estate. Okay, this is usually provided from the title company. You're going to provide them with any kind of commercial leases that you might have on that property, any laundry leases, service contracts. Like, do you have a trash removal company? Do you have a pest control? Do you have landscaping, a pool service? Anything that you are writing a check to on a monthly basis, you will be providing copies of those contracts, right? Because again, the lender wants to make sure that this property performs. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So,
Yes.
okay, great. So property, again, we're focusing on the property right now. So title, you want certificates of occupancy, you want rental licenses, any kind of licensing that's required, you want to provide. Proof of building code compliance. This is important. The city, any if you guys don't know, but the city will inspect the property every year and they make sure that everything is up to code. If it's not up to code, they'll give you a it's not even a violation, but they'll give you like a repair list of things that you need to take care of, and then they'll give you 30, 40 days. They come back out, they make sure that all of those repairs have been made, and then you're in compliance. So you want to make sure that the building is in compliance. You want to get a copy of the deed, zoning letter as well. And then usually on these transactions, I can tell you in Texas, the designation of counsel, which is the attorney that's going to be handling the transaction for you. And also the insurance agent, who's going to be insuring the property. Now, all that information that I had given you up until now has been really like the property. Guarantors, now we're talking, I'm going to give them information about myself, right? So the SREO is the schedule of real estate owned. They want to know, they want to see what is it that you own. And also this gives them an opportunity to see what your financial backing is, right? Whether you have it in assets or in money saved in the bank account, all of that can be used to equal the amount that they require that you need to be worth. They're going to ask you for authorization to release bank and credit information, and they'll give you a form that you need to sign. And they're going to also ask you for verification of deposits. So they want to make sure that the money that you have in the bank account is really the amount of money that you say that you have. And they'll give you these forms. They will provide you these forms, and you will have to then sign them, and they'll do what they have to do. So we're now back to the property section. Okay, current rent rolls. You want all months up to including closing. operating statements. You want your Alta survey, commercial leases, your laundry leases, and copy of all service contracts. Anything that, any kind of contract that you have on the property. And there's probably stuff in here that I haven't even mentioned because, you know, I may not be, I may not personally be using these services, but there could be a bunch of different other stuff. Okay, you want to take all that into consideration. So now, if you are in a situation where you do not have the experience to manage the property and you have to bring in a property management company, these are the things that the lender's going to want. They're going to want a list of the current properties that that property management company is managing right now. They're going to look at all of that. They're going to want to see executed management agreement between myself and that management company. They want to look, all right, what's the deal? What are they charging? What are their responsibilities? What are they doing? Right? Because now this company is taking care of this property, which the bank is lending money on. They want to see a marketing plan. They want to actually see marketing materials, sample of leases, and expenses shared with other properties. So if they manage, let's say they manage another 300-400 apartments. Okay, well, they want to see how are they want to see how those expenses are being shared, and payroll analysis as well. Any questions so far? I know this is a lot of info. Anything that maybe you guys aren't clear about? You guys get it all? You guys are pros at this already? Come on, I need some feedback here. William, give me some feedback.
No, I got it all. I'm following you.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
But
And then
one quick question I do. When
Yeah.
you said the property shared with other properties, in other words, the management company that manages the other, not your other properties, but other clients' properties, they want to know what is shared that the management company expenses they share to
correct.
manage the other properties as well.
Correct. So they want to know, they're going to want to see how, you know, for example, I mean, like one thing I could say is every property has their different expenses, right? And so now they can't really, the lender wants to make sure that the breakdown of those shared expenses is being done, I guess, we could say like appropriately based on maybe the number of units that you have. Like you can't pay what 100 units is paying, right? You're gonna pay what, if you're gonna go out and buy, let's say 10 doors, well, you're gonna be able to afford, you're gonna pay your management services based on 10 units.
Okay.
So it's just it has to make sense. They can't tag on more fees, or maybe they can, maybe the cost of, you know, managing 10 units is going to cost them a little bit more than 100 units. Right? They just want to make sure that all of that is written out and they want to see it. The lender wants to make sure that those expenses are there visible for what your property is paying.
Okay, they want to make sure that you're not being overcharged in
Correct.
terms of managing the property, for them managing the property, and that they also manage the other client properties, that you're not also acquiring their expenses.
You got it. Exactly. Okay. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Very good. And then third-party reports. This is part of trying to close a transaction. Termite inspections. usually we as the buyer or the borrower make sure that we get a termite inspection done on that property. The appraisal key that also needs to be done or initiated by us, the buyer. And then you have a phase 1 environmental report, which the lender usually engages. They order that. And then you have a project, it's called a project capital needs assessment. And this is just a list. This is to make sure, the lender wants to make sure that an inspection of the property with the estimates of the cost to really maintain it over time are assessed appropriately, right? So, you know, you're going to look at a property today and you're going to assess what it's going to cost to maintain it, let's say over the next 5 years. And they want to make sure that that's been taken into consideration and that you provide them that needs assessment list so that the bank can see it. So basically kind of like having a, gosh, I forgot the word I want to use, like a reserve, right? Like almost kind of like a reserve account of money put aside for maintaining the property. Okay, and then this information that I've given you guys is really a path to funding a non-recourse multifamily loan. And so the beauty of this is that a non-recourse loan is a loan that in case of default, it does not allow the lender to pursue anything other than the collateral, you know, that actual property. Whereas a recourse debt holds the borrower personally liable. So they could potentially, and I mean, knock on wood, if something were to happen and you end up getting a recourse debt, and this loan actually, for some reason, you're struggling and you're not making your mortgage payments, and you know, maybe the vacancy is just really, it's not good, it's not sustainable, you could potentially be personally liable for this debt. Or if you have other, you know, maybe you have your own primary residence and maybe you have another property, they have the right to go after those properties. Whereas the non-recourse loan, it's only, you're literally using that particular property as collateral. Does that make sense? I know it's a little, sometimes a little confusing, but do you guys understand the difference between the non-recourse and the recourse debt?
Yes.
Yeah, got that.
Fantastic. And really here, when you are applying for these loans, you got to give yourself at least 60 days really to be able to close, to commit to your, you know, get a good commitment from the bank, a rate lock, and do your due diligence and do everything you need. At least you got to get your 60 days. You can try to get more if you know, if you can, but minimum 60 days. So I'm going to stop sharing here. And so, you know, let's talk a little bit about where are you guys at in this process right now? Have you purchased any multifamily? Are you looking to purchase multifamily? And if you are, how many units, what area? Just share a little bit of what your goals are, and you know, share it with us. This is again, this is a really safe place. No one's judging anyone. This is an opportunity, you know what, to connect, share what you're going through, maybe your struggles, and let's see if, you know, we can help each other here. So please, I'm opening this up to everyone. Anyone looking to share? Mike, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell me where you're at in this process. You looking to buy? Do you already own? Where are you at in this process?
I just got the paperwork, trying to see if I just got the paperwork, I'm reviewing it, and this is a 28 unit complex in West Florida.
So you have 28 units.
Right, I'm exploring to own this property. Maybe I'll
Okay.
do a joint venture or I'll be an investor there. But I was doing my due diligence. The property is in a good location in West Florida, and it's right next to the freeway. 2 or 3 units are not filled up. I need more information. That's what I'm working.
What's the mix of units, Mike? How many doors? And then like how many?
Mostly they're 2 bedrooms, 1 bath.
Wait, I can't, can you speak up a little bit? I can't, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
I said it's 2 bedroom, 1 bath.
So the entire complex is 2 bedroom, 1 bath?
Most of it is, yeah.
Okay,
Rent is about 1,600, 1,700 on that.
okay, so,
I'm reviewing, looking into that stuff. I haven't seen it fully, and that's what I want to talk to you about later.
okay, so, so guys, so here's a great opportunity. Someone is looking to join ventures, you know, with other people. And Mike, if you want to maybe put your information on the chat, that would be great. Share your information, phone number, and you know what? If they're interested, they can contact you. I mean, I'm definitely interested. I want to get some more information. So
Definitely.
send me whatever you have because I'm definitely interested. Do you know what price they want?
7.3 million.
7.3.
million.
And I'm sorry, tell me again.
7.3 million.
7.3, and tell me again how many units?
32.
So 32 doors. What is that per door?
It's about 250.
250. Wow. So 250,000 per door, $7.3 million, 32 doors, the whole complex. Awesome. If anyone on this call is interested in joining Mike, please, he has put his contact information on the chat, and I think, you know, great opportunity to connect to someone who is currently in the commercial real estate world and has some, these are off-market deals, right, Mike?
No, this is, I believe it's in the market, yes.
Oh, it is on the market? Okay, CoStar or one of those?
I have no idea.
Okay, but it's listed, okay.
Can I ask what state?
California. Baldwin Park.
Oh, California, William.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments, concerns, anything that could potentially, you know, you're probably curious, if you want to do something, you want to take a step moving forward with multifamily, but something's holding you back from doing it. You know, ask away. This is a great opportunity to ask those kind of questions.
Not to take away from anyone else. Years ago, there were gurus who talked about when buying multifamily, they would, as far as setting up an LLC for each type or mix of units. Say, for instance, if a 2-bedroom versus 3 bedrooms or 4, they would set up separate LLCs for the 2-bedroom units and then separate LLCs for the 3-bedroom units, and and on and on. And the reason being is that if there's a problem or lawsuit from the 2-bedroom units, that the people, they could not sue the entire complex if there was an issue or problem. Have you heard that or
No, I haven't.
discussed that legally?
I've never heard that. How about anybody else on this call?
What do you do, a land lease? I mean, how does it work? I mean, you separate each and every unit in a separate LLC?
Each unit is separated. One of the lawyers actually indicated, like for instance, in our an example of our ski resort. A ski resort would have, the largest, the food cafeteria, and the list, and they would separate all three in separate LLCs, only because if there's a problem with the list, that they can't sue the entire lodge. They can only sue,
The individual.
the
Right.
list,
Right.
in that respect. And the same concept is with their multi-complexes. If you have, 2 units, 2-bedroom units, and 3 or 4, they all be separated, even though it's one building, but they're separated in different LLCs.
So you have separate meters, separate electricity, separate, everything is separate then?
Not necessarily. It was just being separated by the units itself.
Awesome. And what is the cost to do it?
What was that, Mike?
What was the cost to do LLCs for each and every complex, like in every unit?
I mean, you figure it can cost you, at a
$800.
minimum, what, like $800?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I honestly, William, I've never heard of it. I don't know. I mean, like for me, it would be easy because I could separate. I have one building, which is 24 units, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And then I have another building, which is 10 units, 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. So I could easily form 2 corporations, but I don't know what I don't know if it would even make sense, to be honest with you. I don't
Okay.
know enough. I really don't know enough to advise or to not advise because I've not done it myself.
It's like an asset protection he's talking about.
William?
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
I said, is it like it's like an asset protection?
Yes, asset protection. Yes.
Who's the attorney? I mean, do you have any recommend any good attorney who can do that stuff?
Oh, this was an attorney years ago, and I didn't know if it was still, something that's being used. But I know attorneys years ago during the various folks that were in the real estate, and the asset protection attorneys indicated that.
Okay, well, that's interesting. It's definitely something to look into because I think when we own property and lots of doors, asset protection is definitely very important. And that's why I think forming, an LLC for your apartment, your units is very important. Like my property is not under my name, it's under my corporation, which
Yes.
I think, all of you all know to put multifamily under a corporation or an LLC versus your own personal name. At least you
Yes.
want to have some sort of protection, right? Something there to protect you. Anything else?
How about an umbrella policy? Does that help?
Insurance wise, an umbrella policy?
Just for your protection, have, a couple of $1 million umbrella policy in case somebody sues, you have something to protect you. Will that help?
Yeah. Again, I'm not familiar with how that would work, Mike. I mean, I'm sure, whatever insurance you get on the property for protection is going to work. I don't know how, again, I don't know the details of the insurance. That's not my scope, but
That's a good point. William brought it up to have a separate unit. I never thought about it. It's possible. That's good to know. Extra precautious, like,
We should-
everybody's safe.
You know, I'll look into it and see if I can get an attorney to come on the call and share about asset protection that way. I think it'd be interesting to find out. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? We're coming to an end here. So any other last minute questions? We're good. Hey, Mike, I'm interested in those properties in, I'll call you afterwards. I would definitely like to get some more information, whatever you have.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Again, every Wednesday, 2 p.m. I meet here on this channel. Please, 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 share this with others. If you found this to be any kind of, if there's any value and anybody else that you think could benefit from this, please share this with them. And make sure to like, a thumbs up on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow that as well. And I will see you guys next week. I'm here. And any questions, you guys know you can email me anytime. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. All right.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Okay, thank you
right.
so much. Bye.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, Sonata.
Bye.
Bye, Miriam.